You feel like you're ashamed of your emotional reactions, this video is for you. I'm going to share how I was once in your shoes. I completely get where you're from and how to get out of it. All right, by sharing my story in the hopes that it's going to add value to you, and hopefully if we get to work together, great. If we don't, you can keep watching the videos and get the same outcome. I hope. Cool, so let's dive in. So my name is Mac Doe, and I help men become emotionally stable by understanding how to lead themselves first so that they can lead everywhere else. I also work with women too, but ideally primarily men. So pretty much, where did this start from? Okay, so the story is quite simple. I was a firstborn who was taught that you're only loved if you're useful. So from a very young age, unintentionally, my parents done what they thought was right, which was reward my good performance and punish my bad performance. The byproduct of that, however, as a firstborn, left me in this lingo where I felt that when I didn't perform, well, I didn't deserve to be loved. And because there's so much pressure for you to deliver and be this person that can execute, you now start to think of yourself as, well, if I'm not solving the problem, there's a problem. If I'm not solving the problem, then that makes me the problem. And that's how I grew up, okay? And that was my situation at home for a very, very long time. The invisibility in school and amongst friends, and when it came to safety, came to me understanding one thing. If I can blend in with everyone, then I'm likely to get everybody else's treatment, which is you feel like you belong, you feel welcomed. So don't do anything that's outside of what these people accept. Growing up in Italy and being one of the few black people there meant I couldn't stand out. I just had to make sure that I was part of them. So I may have skills, I may have these advantages that I just can't use because that puts me at risk. Okay, that's the mindset I grew up in. When it came to now moving on from Italy and coming to the UK, I thought finally I get to be authentic because I'm around other black people. Clearly this must work. And to my benefit, I was around black people. Actually, I was in the heat of them. I was in London. I was in Croydon. And the first week I joined, there was riots. So I was like, well, this is slightly a bit more violent than where I was. And what that means for you, person watching this, is that unfortunately I still felt invisible because the people I grew up around had a very different background to mine. So their approach to life, the way they saw things was very different. And that's where the invisibility sort of stayed there for a long time. But what life meant to me, or what kept me going, is I kept giving into this illusion, which is where I find a lot of men sort of currently still being. Right? You ask yourself, why do I show up for everybody else but myself? And the reality of the matter is that you believe that it'll be reciprocated. I believe they'll be reciprocated. Right? What did I believe? I'll show you. I believed that people are fair, all in due timing, and people are kind as long as you're kind. So in other words, there was a mirror. As long as you're kind to people, they will be kind to you. That was the illusion I believed in. And if you know anything about how success works or how changing your mind works, you'd know that the external a lot of times doesn't match the internal first. It's actually vice versa. The internal must be stable before the external changes. So me believing this automatically created an unstable environment. And a lot of you carry that into your teams and your relationships. If I'm kind to them, they'll be kind to me. The law of reciprocity doesn't work like that. But I didn't know that at the time, because my goal was to stay safe and be part of something. So as time went on, this system eventually cracked. Just like in 2008, when the bubble crashed, the illusion I believed in for so long showed its true colors. My identity became too expensive to carry. Now, in these three areas in particular, when it comes to my finances, so my career choices, I was surrounded by people that were earning. I was surrounded by people who had better packages than I did and worked way less than I did. So my system was contradicting what I was seeing. Because I was, hold on a minute, I have made almost $500,000 already for this company. How is it that this guy that's just joined has a better car, a better commission package, and a better treatment than I did? What's going on? Right? They didn't put $500,000 in these guys' pockets. I did. So where's my reward for that? Reciprocity. See, when you're not aware of the systems running inside of you, you're gonna carry the transaction is happening regardless, by the way. You're gonna start to resent because the way this transaction works is these tanks fill each other. Value looks after value. I give, I receive. And if you don't receive, you start to wonder why the hell you're giving. Okay? And that is where I was. Why am I giving myself? Why am I turning up to work to people that wouldn't even give me the dignity to turn up and show the people that I'm mentoring that this company looks out for me? Why? Why do I have my wisdom tooth coming out and I'm on the phone blabbering through because no one else can come to the office? Why did I come in with a broken foot? Why did I give so much away for this outcome? My identity was cracking. And that was part one, so financially. Then relationship wise, again, as long as I'm useful, I'll be loved. So what did I do? What did you expect me to do? Fix everything in that relationship. Whatever fires were needed to be put out, I'm there with the hot towel, burning my hand through it, saying, pff, pff. Long distance, no problem. This thing, no problem. No communication, no problem. Disrespect, no problem. We fix everything. And the same transaction was going on, right? I now realized that I was giving to someone that now assumed that I was just delivering what they needed. I was giving to someone that just assumed that that's just how things are. That's the type of person I am, and that is what I deserve. No disrespect to her. No disrespect to her. The problem I had with that is when we broke up, not too long after that, and this is what broke me, because I initially thought, you know what, hey, come on, it happens. Maybe I'm tired, I'm frustrated. And she said, I took you for granted, and I'm sorry for that. It took her losing me to realize that she took me for granted. And she's not the only one. Every single person I've ever had any sort of interaction with took me for granted. I remember one of my first relationships, serious relationships, flew this person out for their birthday. And my birthday, which came after, I got a poem. My best friend still laughs at me because of that poem. I can't remember how it goes, but I'm sure it's something around the roses are red, violets are blue. I think you're cool and I still love you. I think that's how it went, or that's what I remember from it. And I remember the disgust in my head. I didn't say at the time because I was a coward. I didn't have the balls to be honest about how I felt about certain things, because that would mean that I'm no longer fair or kind. And why do I deserve kindness when I'm being horrible to somebody else? Reciprocity, right? So that was relationship. I was broken relationship wise, and I remember reaching out to a friend and so I was saying, listen, I'm going through it right now. You know, I can't speak to my family because if I speak to them, the last pillar is almost like there was 3 flames. 2 have gone. The last flame, and I remember it now, is at least I'm the strong one for them. I mean, at least they can rely on me. Okay? I suck at relationship. This is my 5th heartbreak. I suck at work. I can't even get a promotion whilst giving it 120%. Life, I'm just not good at it. But at least I'm a good brother. At least I'm a good son. And if I take that away from them, I've taken away from me the last thing that matters. I remember I'll drive, and as I'm driving, sometimes it'll take me longer to stop because I was questioning maybe life insurance, who knows. I'm still useful. I just get all this weight off of me. So I can't tell them, because if I tell them, then I'm wrong. I'm done. I am officially useless. A lot of us men need to face the darkness of being useless. Yeah. Because when I faced it, I realized that I was living a lie. So I'm on the phone to this friend and I'm explaining to her, I'm not doing too well. I kind of need to speak to someone. And I just thought, maybe, you know, we've had our differences, but I've always been there for you. So reciprocity again. Surely you're going to be there for me, right? She said, no, I can't help you. It's not my problem to fix. I haven't spoken to her since, and that was the first time I realized that I had to create a new system. Some of the people I loved don't care. Friends that I was prepared to do crazy things for, who didn't even bat an eye when it came to me. So nobody cares, and everyone is selfish. And the last one that entered the room was life is unfair, but someone has to play to win though. And that's when my villain era began. I told the people at work, I'm too broken to care about you guys anymore. So here's what's gonna happen. You either pay me or I walk. And they were like, yo, we can't give you what you're asking for. And I said, that's fine, I'll walk. And I walked. There's this ruthless strength that comes from facing death and not being scared of it anymore, that I don't think I would have been able to get any other way. I had to go into the pits of hell to get this ruthless ostrich that just doesn't care enough about who I'm speaking to or what we're talking about. I don't care. Worst case scenario, I go to heaven. So I kid you not, I don't care. And that's when I realized something. As I was going through that phase where I was letting the anger, frustration, resentment consume me, something woke me up. And it was this one person only I could see. My inner child. And I know that we've prided ourselves on being tough men and cold and hearted, and honestly speaking, this is a very vulnerable moment because I don't know you. You don't know me. I mean, I know some of you guys because you're my clients, and I check on you. Checked on you recently and you're doing well, and I'm so happy to hear that, honestly speaking. It warms my heart that after us speaking together, after us working together, you're not just doing well, but you're holding yourself accountable and improving and taking things further. It genuinely, it's like the best thing to hear. I got even some of my guys reaching out saying, hey, do you want to be a VIP at my event? Like, it's like, I didn't start this having this in mind. I just said, let's record and let's help one person, you know? And that's why I don't care how many people watch this. If it resonates, it resonates. So I was too broken to admit where I was, but then this one kid comes up from the abyss and he's there in the corner and I'm looking at him and I'm just seeing, what's that? And then he's just holded up in the corner and he's by himself and I'm saying, what are you doing there? And he said, been alone for quite a while now. No one's seen me, not even you. And I said, did I just abandon this child because I was trying to please all these motherfuckers? I can't let that happen again. And that's where the boundaries rose up like nobody else mattered or needed to. There's a kid involved. The one person that has had my back this whole time. I just wasn't by myself. Despite what I was thinking in my head, I was never alone. But this kid was, because I abandoned it. And I said, I'm never leaving you behind again. I'm going to parent you now. And that was the beginning of the rebuild. The connection with your inner child. The reparenting. The becoming the parent that doesn't need you to perform to be rewarded or punished because you didn't perform. The parent that's just present and is saying, get back up and get it done. There's no such thing as failure, there's only attempts. You keep going. Keep pushing. Become the very best person you can be. Become the parent you never had. Is the biggest lesson I give anyone I'm speaking to. You don't want to work with me, fine. Just be your parent. Become your own parent first, because I kid you not, until you become your own parent, you can't parent anyone. This is why we have a generation where children are raising children. But I digress. So that was the beginning of the rebuild. However, there was still a lot of strength I was gaining from this negative energy I had built in the system I created, where I said nobody cares, everyone's selfish, and life is unfair, just play to win. It was enjoyable, there was some rewards to it, right? It was the fact that I was able to go to the hottest woman that I found in the space and say, hey, if you're interested, let's do something. If you're not, I'm happy for us to call it a day. My roster was some men's dreams. It was crazy. It's like I went from this guy who was sending money to get people's attention to almost not going on a single day and attracting women that were dating multimillionaires. And I was like to myself, how did this happen? I stopped caring. You're with me or you're not, I'm cool with it. And because women could sense that ruthless authenticity, they were attracted to it. I didn't become a villain, I just became certain. And then my sister came to me and she was like, you, my friend, are gonna die alone. No one's gonna be around you like this. I get it, you've had it tough. I only known you to be a fighter. You fought your whole life. And when she said that, I've been fighting an uphill battle ever since she's known me. I realized that this battle gave me the armor I needed, which was, I don't need anyone, but other people need me. So how do I show up for them when I'm not showing up for myself in a way that allows me to be authentic to who I used to be, which is this kind person who was fair, who believed in kindness, and believed in, to a certain extent, there was some naivety to it, right? And I remember looking back, reminiscing and thinking, I kind of miss that person. The naivety, the ability to see the best in people. And that's when I started to conjuncture, is there a way to put this all together? Is there a way to connect this kind side with this cold side? Because I kid you not, you need both. You can't just walk through life thinking that everyone's just going to be kind to you. That's stupidity. And you can't walk through life doing the exact opposite, thinking everyone's horrible. That's also naivety, and that's stupidity too, to a certain extent. Why? Because not everyone's out for you. Not everyone's out to get you. Especially the people that love you, right? But you can't spot that until you start to create awareness in both spaces, which is what I started to understand I needed to do in order to lead myself. And as I started to lead myself, I met my wife. And I remember she came at the worst time ever. I was in the process of, so I was headhunted left, right, center for quite a while. So I never really felt like I needed to worry about jobs and stuff like that, because everyone, like, if it's not this, it's that company and that company. And then I'm in a 4-stage interview with a financial investment company in Dubai, and I didn't apply. They came to me. They saw my LinkedIn and they were like, listen, we gotta work with you, man. And I'm just and then the crash happens. I get fired for being overqualified. I speak 5 languages. They said they only need 2, English and 1 extra. They're paying too much to have me in their team, and they don't have the capacity to keep me there. They recommended me to another company, but the bubble burst. I went from being this invisible person, invincible. I went from invisible to invincible. I remember I was applying 300 times a day sometimes, trying to get a job. I thought I was at the top of the ladder. I was like, I don't have to look for a job ever again. That crushed me. Because for years I built this invincible mask that said, you have the skill set to be desirable in any market. And it came crashing like a ton of bricks. So there I was, trying to figure out who was I without the money I made, without the 6 figures, without the money after tax. Who was I? And I became a delivery driver. And then I scaled that business. We became a 6-figure owner. But prior to that, I didn't know who I was. I just knew that I wasn't scared anymore. And during that rebuild, as I met my wife, I realized that as long as I can lead myself and be authentic, I'm happy whatever the consequence is. And that's how within 2 weeks I knew that I had to be with her, because I was okay with the consequences of her saying no or things not working out. 3 years down the line, married, have a child together. We live together in a riverside apartment. Things are nice, things are comfortable. We can travel if we want to. We can choose to stay if we want to. We are no longer financially struggling. We don't necessarily see where we are exactly where we want to be, but I think one of the things I've learned from this whole concept is, if you're someone that's emotionally reactive, what you need to do is start to be honest with yourself. And ask yourself, why is that still the case, even though you know better? Because awareness alone, you can watch all these videos and they'll be great. You need to confront yourself. You need to be willing to take yourself to health if you have to. That's what it takes. It's not awareness. It's decision. Decide. I am prepared to do whatever it takes to get rid of this once and for all. Now that's when you've decided. Until then, you're playing. But what's the system, right? Because the truth of the matter, like I said, they both have some sort of benefits. And the system I now have is a system that no one can take away from me, but still allows me to be kind to the people I choose to be kind to, and ruthless to the people I decide to be ruthless to. So it's turned my journey into a strategy that allows me to show up authentically in each environment. And if you want the roadmap, please feel free to send me a message on Instagram or TikTok, whichever you prefer. Book a call and I'll show you exactly what that looks like for you. But for me, the way it looks is, number one, everyone has a problem they're currently dealing with. So it's not that nobody cares, but everyone has a concern. So until you fix that first, you don't really deserve their attention. Your love for yourself should be based on who you are and not what you do. Number 3, life is unfair as long as you deny the fact that you have an unfair advantage that's going to help someone. My unfair advantage was my failures. That's when I found it, because it was the only thing that, when odds were stacked against me, was still standing. It was the very thing that said one more day. It was the very thing that said you don't stop here, you keep going, because there's a story you have to tell. Your unfair advantage is what makes you you, and you dampening it or you trying to pretend it's not there and focusing on everything else is why you're currently struggling. You want to know what the elites have all in common? They're not scared to use their leverage. In fact, they look for it. You want to know what the commoners do? They try to stay common. Oh, let me hide this. Let me pretend this isn't there. That's the difference between the two. One is hiding the very thing that can take them to the next level. The other one is constantly looking for it. And once they find it, they abuse it to the max. Abuse your unfair advantage. Someone needs it. Imagine I never shared my story. Probably wouldn't be able to resonate with someone that's created a system around the very thing you're currently witnessing. Imagine Will Smith never shared his story. Or maybe, okay, Will Smith is cool. Akira Toriyama never shared his unfair advantage. Your unfair advantage is the gift the world needs to move forward as you're moving forward. But yet here you are questioning it because of your morality. Fuck your morality. Get to work. Use your unfair advantage to build what the world needs. Not just for yourself, but for your family. Okay? I have the gift of the gab. So I speak. Okay? I get paid by clients to simplify things that they cannot decode themselves. Why? Ask me when we get to heaven. I don't know. That's my unfair advantage. Okay? I don't have a script. All I have here is invincible, broken, rebuild, and leading. That was my script. This is all my life. Top of my head. And I need you to understand that you can do this too in your own domain. Everyone's got their own domain. You're rich. Access your rich uncles. That's your connection right there. Come on, use your freaking leverage. You're poor. Use your story. So many people can relate to poor stories. I have a call with a multi-millionaire tomorrow. A friend of mine. Grew up went to the same college. He tells me all the time, I wish I had your story. my story doesn't feel as strong as it is. Bearing in mind his story is in Gulf News. I don't want to say too much. So yeah, fuck your morality, use your unfair advantage. Not to manipulate people, not to destroy people, but to create value that people need. And I'm going to end it on that, okay? If you need help in understanding how that fully works, drop me a message and I'll show you exactly how. But for now, I'm going to leave you with the fact that if you're still emotionally reactive after watching this video, what you need to do is quite simple. Pause, recalibrate, rebuild, reframe. I'll see you in the next one.